top 5 reasons you're not happy right now. We did guilt, we did worry, we did overwhelmment. So we are now on 4 of the 5 top 5 reasons you're not happy right now. And number 5 is really, really a good one, and I think it's a major, major one in most of our lives. And that is, we kind of hang our happiness on the backs of others in our lives. Now, we may think we don't do that. A lot of you are shaking your head. No, I don't do that. That's not me, but I think we all do it. I do it. We all do it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to try to learn to recognize when we are doing that a little bit so that we can nip it in the bud and have a little bit of a better balance and be a little bit more responsible for our own happiness. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so what do I mean when I say that we hang our happiness on other people's shoulders? Here's what I mean. When your husband forgets your anniversary and you are very, very upset and hurt and wounded, you're not happy. And if you dig down, the reason you're not happy is because of what he did. So you are then, in effect, putting your happiness on him. It's his responsibility to change his behavior and behave in a way that makes you feel better. So anytime your boss doesn't appreciate you, the people in your house are just so darn negative, the kids are out of control, they're struggling in school, they're struggling with more important things, health issues, addiction issues, you stop being happy because of what they're doing. You allow their behavior to kind of get inside you and determine your mood. We really do tend to rely a lot on others and to kind of our mood. Anytime, just ask yourself, why am I so unhappy? What happened? The other day, I sent out a newsletter. I posted about this on my page, and I probably shouldn't give it any more airtime, but I'm going to anyway, just for an example, because I'm okay now. I'm over it. Maybe I'm not entirely over it, but we're all learning as we go, right? So you can help me with this. So I sent out a newsletter. I posted about this contest, and it's the fall fantasy contest. And it's a lot of fun. So I put that in my newsletter, and below it I put the cool cover that we just released on this anthology of mine called 3 Witches and a Zombie, which is a collection of previously published novellas that we put together. And I just love the cover of this thing, 3 Witches and a Zombie. So underneath the contest announcement in the newsletter, I included the links and the cover art for 3 Witches and a Zombie. And the header was kind of Halloween-y because it's fall. It turned fall. A leaf fell. That's it. It's fall. I'm done. I'm in. So I'm a little fall crazy. So I sent this newsletter out, and almost immediately I got a reply, because you can hit reply on the newsletter and it comes directly to me. That probably won't always be the case, but it's the case right now. And so I got this reply from this guy who I had never heard from before, and I have no idea why he was even on my newsletter list. You have to sign up. I don't sign you up. And he was snotty. He was angry. He's all like, oh, I suppose you're going to send me Christmas junk in October too. And he was really snarky about it. And he sent me 2 further, I didn't respond right away. And he sent me a second one saying, I don't need fictional witches. I know real witches. That was the second one. And that I did respond that time, and all I wrote was one line. I said, I'll unsubscribe you. Sorry for the inconvenience. And that was it. Didn't say anything else. He wrote me back a third one, and this one was a long one, saying, I looked you up online. I guess you're pretty impressive. I said that about the witch thing. And he didn't apologize. And then he said, I see you went to a Wiccan seminary. Who made that up? So I was ticked. It threw me for a loop. And I was kind of in a snappy, snarky mood for probably 3 or 4 hours that day. The whole morning I was spoiling for a fight. I did go and unsubscribe him from the newsletter, but I didn't respond. I kept pulling it back up because I wanted to reply. I kept pulling it back up, wanting to reply, but I didn't. I didn't do it. I held it back and I let it go. But so So that's just an example of how a perfect stranger who I do not know and whose opinion about me I really should not even care about was snarky to me, and I let that determine my mood. I kind of let it ruin my morning. But don't we kind of every day of our lives, someone cuts us off in traffic, we're angry. Someone says something snarky to us in reply to an innocent comment, we're ticked off. Someone snubs us, or we take it as a snub, and often it isn't, but we interpret it as one, and we feel hurt and we feel sad. And so all these little things that other people do can affect our mood. And in that way, we're kind of making all those people, strangers in our lives that we don't even know, we're kind of making them responsible for our happiness. We are saying, in effect, you have to behave in a way that makes me feel good all the time, or else I'm not going to feel good. So all we need to do is be aware of it. It's still going to happen. I've been studying this stuff and practicing this stuff and polishing my technique for years now, and I still let the snark get to me from time to time. But most of the time, I was under the weather that day. Most of the time, it bounces right off me and it doesn't have an effect. And that can be you too. We are just going to practice and practice and practice. We're going to become more and more aware of when it's happening. And then we're going to stop ourselves and say, okay, it's up to him how he behaves. It's his journey. He's got 80 years on the planet. If he wants to spend the afternoon playing video games instead of hanging out with me, I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to go find something I want to do. Everybody gets to choose for themselves. We cannot put it on our partners and our kids and our parents to behave in ways that make us happy and pay enough attention to us to make us happy. Our happiness is an inside job. So when the kids are playing video games instead of hanging out with you on their vacation or on their weekend off, and you really think they should want to be with their mom more than they do, just try to stop and say, you know what? They're human beings with, if they're lucky, 80 years on the planet. They ought to be able to spend the time doing what they want. I mean, isn't it bad enough we make them go to school, for heaven's sakes? Oh, the time they spend in the classroom. Let them have their free time. Let them do what they want to do. And I think that what you find is that people become so much more relaxed around you because they're not getting that guilt. They're not getting pressure. They're not feeling judged and condemned. We're not doing that mom thing where, you know, we kind of, it's a little bit passive aggressive sometimes, the mom thing we do, you know. Fine, I only gave birth to you. Fine, go play video games. I don't need you to pay attention to me. I don't need help with the dishes. Go ahead, I'll do it myself, like always. Don't do that. Let's try not to do that anymore. Let's try to recognize the individuals in our lives, our family, our friends, our children, our parents, our spouses especially. Let's try to recognize them as separate beings from us who have 80 or 90 years on the planet, and maybe 100 or 120, that's how long I'm going to live, and let them spend that time seeking their happiness in their own way, finding their own path and having their own journey. Everyone has to be fully autonomous and empowered to make the decisions in their lives that make them feel the best. And we too are empowered to make the decisions in our lives that make us feel the best. And it works so nicely that way. Now we can take this even further. Lately I've been getting really mad about politics. I've been getting mad at the media for the way they cover the politics. I've been getting mad when they joke about it and saying, why aren't you spending that jokey time covering maybe a third-party candidate? I get mad at the way they cover different things, at the slant, the bias that I see, and I see it on both sides equally bad, so I can't even watch the side I agree with anymore because I can see through what they're doing to the bias underneath it. And everybody slants things their own way, and I let it, from time to time, I let it get to me. Okay, so here's what I do. Most of the time, I enjoy the politics. I like to watch it. I enjoy the bickering back and forth. It's an exciting year. We've never seen a year like this before. It's fascinating. So what I do is I watch a little, and then when I feel them starting to push my buttons, I turn it off. and I go watch something like, if I'm watching TV, you know, the best thing to do is to get up off the couch and go outside and enjoy nature for a while and let it cleanse me. But if I still have to sit in there and watch something, often I'll have background noise on just while I'm working so that I have some more things occupying my radical, crazy brain. I'll turn it to Super Soul Sunday or something Scooby-Doo or something that's a little easier to digest, and I get myself away. So the politics doesn't have the power really to affect me too much anymore. I'll start to get a little cranky and then I'll just, okay, I'll turn it off. And my approach to it, and I know this is bothering a lot of people. So here's what we have to remember with politics. It is not the politician's job to make our lives work for us. We think it is. We think, no, we're electing them to run the country in a way that makes us happy, and that's kind of the agreement we've made. But on a deeper soul level, we are experiencing our own creations in the life that we're living all the time. And if you really look at the big picture with the politics, people have been griping about it the way it is, the status quo for a long time. So in that way, we've created this major change. We've never seen an election year like this. We can all agree on that. We've never seen anything like it. Well, I think it's coming in direct response, as everything does, to the mass consciousness longing for something completely different. We have been wanting to turn the government inside out and flip it on its head and kind of force them to change their ways. We are all tired of the status quo. We have been for a long time. And so this is what is happening as a result of it. And maybe you like this outside candidate that we've never seen the likes of before, and maybe you don't. That's kind of irrelevant. What's happening is major change. Win or lose, there's going to be major change as a result of this election. Whatever happens, it's creating a big change, and I think it's a big change that the nation has kind of created just with seeing the way things were and not liking it. Whatever side you're on, it's exactly the same. You didn't like the way things were. A lot of people didn't like the way things were. And when there's this mass consciousness longing for change, change happens. And that's really kind of how the evolution of society, occurs. It's all about seeing what you like and seeing what you don't like, and consciously or unconsciously wishing for more of what you do like. And then it becomes. And then you look at that and you see things you like and you see things you don't like, and you kind of lean more toward the things you like and you get more of those. And that's how we progress. It's how we learn. It's how we've gotten people walking on the moon. It's how we've cured radical diseases, and we'll continue to do so. It's seeing what we like, seeing what we don't like, focusing on what we do like, and creating, therefore, more of that here. So what we're doing every day of our lives, it's so kind of fun. You can look around you at your surroundings and say, I really wish I had a pond to swim in. And that's what started with us. We said, we really wish we had a pond to swim in. We might want a pool, but we have this little mud hole. It would be cool if we could make it into a swimmable pond. Let's try it. And the next thing you know, we've got this beautiful clear water blue pond, and we've got a stream, and we've got a waterfall, and we love it so much. And then we look at the house and we say, I really wish we had, new siding on the house. And that'll be the next thing. And we will just evolve into it little bit by little bit. You are constantly, the home that surrounds you where you live is a perfect example for the life that you create. It's kind of a reflection of your inner, where you are inside, because as you grow and as you develop and as you learn how to manifest the things you want simply by focusing on the good and not the bad, it just keeps evolving. But the real lesson is, it's never done. It's never ever done. So there are no mistakes. There's only experience. If you take a step that didn't result in the way that you thought it would, you have learned, and now you're in a different place to launch forward from there. You've moved ahead. You've already gained. So there's no mistake. There's no bad experience. There's only experience. Everything that happens to you helps you to grow and learn what you want more. And so this week, I want us all to go home and practice recognizing when we are putting our happiness on someone else. I want us to recognize it and just catch ourselves and try to bite your lip. When you start giving a guilt trip, try to bite your lip and say to yourself, this is an autonomous being who has the right to spend his time the way he wants. The limited time in this body and on this particular time around, he really has the right to spend it the way he wants. And then kind of let go of it. And you just stop getting mad. You stop getting mad over little perceived slights when you look at it that way. So that's my little spiel for today. Let's all try to recognize every time we feel that little, how could he? How dare he? Let's stop and think what we're really doing. What we're really doing is saying, you have to change your behavior so I can be happy. And that makes no sense. Makes no sense. They could never change it enough to make us happy. We have to find our happiness inside. Happiness truly is a choice.